afternoon, everyone. This is Rakesh Rao, Executive Editor of First Construction Council, welcoming you for today's virtual event, which focuses on the topic of reimagining construction with automation. This webinar is jointly organized by Construction World, Infrastructure Today, and Equipment India magazines. Before we proceed, just give an agenda of today's event. So after the opening remarks and a presentation by me, industry experts during the panel discussion will explore the potential of automation in the construction sector. After the panel discussion, the virtual floor will be open for taking questions from the participants. The participants are requested to type in their questions in the chat box so that we can take these questions towards the end of the event. So with this, let me start the program by introducing First Construction Council to the participants. Let me share my PPT. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So the First Construction Council is a infrastructure think tank focused on providing the latest updates on the construction industry in India and dedicated to promoting its causes and the needs. The council is a platform to promote the adoption of best practices and be the torchbearer for all policy initiatives that are needed for the welfare of the construction industry. It is the industry's unified voice. So the council is governed by a board of governors who are the industry leaders. You can see some of them on the screen. Mr. D.K. Sen, the executive committee member and advisory CMD at L&T. Then architect Hafiz Contractor. Pradeep Singh, former VC and MD of IDFC. Mr. Vinayak Pai, MD and CEO of Tata Projects Limited. Mr. Sanjay Seth, Senior Director, TERI and CEO Griha Council. Mr. Sandeep Singh, MD, Tata Hitachi. Subodh Dixit, former Executive Director of Sapoji Palanji. So these are our governing council, board of governors who guide us on for the council. And members of the council benefits in more than one way. This includes industry networking opportunities, knowing consumption trends, understanding the market conditions better, and access to growth opportunities. And how do members achieve all this benefit? Through white papers and research reports released by the council and through various events, webinars, conferences, and industry award ceremony. On June 25th, FCC will be hosting the 5th Construction Technology Summit at Courtyard by Marriott in Mumbai. The event will discuss the impact of technologies such as BIM, 3D modeling, 3D printing, geospatial technology, robotics, AI, and ML on the future of construction and infrastructure in the country. The summit will showcase how cutting-edge technologies have revolutionized construction processes from railway and metro rail projects to landmark structures such as Statue of Unity, Chenab Bridge, and Atal Tunnel. The Construction Technology Summit presents an exclusive opportunity for 10 groundbreaking startups to showcase their ideas, technologies, and solutions that can transform the future of construction. So this summit is a must for professionals who are committed to staying at the forefront of the construction industry through technology. So on screen, you could see the list of upcoming events which will be organized by the First Construction Council in the year 2025. In case anybody is interested in joining to be part of First Construction Council or Construction Technology Summit or any other ASAP events, do drop in an email at contact@firstconstructioncouncil.com. So before we proceed for the panel discussion, I would like to call upon my colleague, Mr. Jagdish, who is going to talk about impact and innovative AI-powered platform that provides comprehensive market intelligence for the companies in the Indian construction sector. So over to you, Jagdish.
Yes. Thank you, sir. My name is Jagdish. I'm a senior researcher. I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Jagdish Londe. I'm a senior research analyst in Impact. I'll just share my screen. I will quickly go through what is the impact or what impact we created for this industry. I'll show you that. My Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yeah, Jagdish is visible. You can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Yes. Impact is a construction business intelligence platform where we are providing projects and tenders information from project conceptualization to completion. That means we are tracking every stage of the project, from each and every stage, what this project specifically required, what is required from government bodies, what is the requirement from private bodies. We track both private and public projects. So I will just show you what impact sectors it generally cover. So in the screen right now, if you see, impact covers generally these four sectors: transportation, utilities, public infrastructure, and building and factories. Under the transportation, we have a different categories like airports, road and highways, railways, ports and shipping, metro rail, etc. In the utilities, we cover water and energy related projects, public infrastructure, hospital, government building, school building, recreational facility, statue, etc. And in building and factories, we cover industrial, residential, data center, mixed use, private projects also. Impact only track tenders and projects which is above 10 crore. So we created this platform to for the construction industry to serve the contractor and the product companies. So once you log in the platform, you directly come to the impact default dashboard. Here you will see you can choose sectors according to your references. So this dashboard can change according to your preferences. Like you can choose here, you are interested in mixed use, road and highways, metro, ports and shipping, etc. Or just you want to know the entire universe, just cancel this. If you see in the screen right now, this is the impact default dashboard with with from last 30 days. 230 2,397 tenders were launched in last 30 days in above all about 10 crore. 181 conceptual projects launched in from last 90 days, and 30 projects were added in the impact from last 30 days. Here you will see, this is a trending categories right now all over pan India, which categories where the projects and tenders are increasing right now. Here if you see the road and highways, government buildings, water supply, hospital, healthcare. This dashboard gives you entire snapshot about the construction industry, what is going on in this industry, in which stage, which projects are in which stage right now. You will get everything, every information in infographics in the dashboard. Here you will see state-wise how many open and closed tenders. Like in Rajasthan right now, closed tenders 105, open tenders 100, all about 10 crore. This is the sum of the closing opportunities. The dashboard is directly linked with the Construction One platform. Here you can see the Construction World news also. Impact also tracking the government programs which is related to the infrastructure and construction. So if you see here, we have one graph here where we are tracking the Amrut water related projects, number of Bharatmala projects currently which are ongoing, tendering, which are in planning, which are in DPR, everything. Amrit Bharat Station Redevelopment Scheme, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, Jal Jeevan Mission, etc. So if I scroll up, here you will see these are the different pages of the impact. So you can get to know about what you can track. So if you just go to the tenders page, here you will see the entire universe of the tenders launch in last 30 days. So I just select here date criteria from Jan 1 to today, last 3 months. Total about 10 crore, 4,886 number of tenders were launched all over India, all about 10 crore. with the 666 different owners. 5,74,000 is the tender value, all inclusive. With the 1,19,000 is a still active tender value. You only interested in, suppose you can filter here tender and projects like Amazon product. You can change the tender value. If you select here 100, then here you will see how the graph is changing, right? You will click on any state, and you just click on any state, you will get also what are the exact opportunity in that state. So if you see from the last 30 days, above 100 crore tenders in Maharashtra, to only 110 number of tenders were launched. If you scroll below, you will get all the details about these tenders, when these tenders were launched, what are the categories of these tenders, what is the financing mode of these tenders, everything. I will show you one example of a one tender page. Here, if you see in the screen, this is a tender ID. Tender description is construction of new 6-lane access control in Capital Region Ring Road, Rameswaram in Odisha. Here, the financing mode is also mentioned. Here, we will see the tenders comes under which category, which sector, what is the subcategory about this tender, what is the exactly works associated with this project or this tender. That helps you identify details about each project, what these projects required, what is a published date, submission date, their financing mode. If any recent update we get, we will immediately add here. If you scroll below, here you will easily get access of the tender document. So you can just click on any document. This document gets automatically downloaded in your PC. Once the technical bid is open, we will inform you here in the list of the bidders. Once a financial bid is open, as soon as possible, we will inform you through the weekly PPT and the daily project updates that I'll show you after this platform. Any doubt? You can ask if you have any doubt.
Just one question. This is for all the public projects, or are this also for private ones?
Yeah, we are tracking the privates also. So privates generally we tracking the industrial, residential, commercial, data center, logistics. Like this we are tracking.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you wanted to, segregate the projects like a public private, we have a one page, which is name is a project page. So here you will see there is a one button. So you can switch to your, choose accordingly your interest. You can just click on the private projects. Here you will see how the dashboard is changing. Now the universe you will see here, these all are private projects which are tracking. We will give you with private projects how much cement and steel required according to the project, according to the city. We will inform you whenever the construction is started, whenever the construction is completed, etc. I will show you one project page where every detail is mentioned. So this is one Bhubaneswar Metro project, which is a save in impact. So if you want to if you wanted to know if any one project detail, everything, you will just write that project name. That project directly come up, and you just go to the action page. Here you will see the lat long about that project, the project details, project description. Right now, which stage of this project currently? So here, if you see in the timeline, the currently project is ongoing in 2025. Okay, these are the some of the important dates, important location. These are the project specific fields which we are directly scrapping from the DPR document. So we are using AI here to analyze what DPR documents require, types of machinery required, how much kilometer, how much length, construction type, is elevated underground, what are the materials required. Like this project specific details we are using through AI and automate this process to inform industry what are the exact requirement about this project. Now here you will also get the number of tenders which is associated directly with this project. Like here, if you see in the screen, there are total 7 tenders which is launched under this project. Like the Bhubaneswar Metro is a project name. Under that, these 7 tenders were released. And if you see in the screen, the 4 tender is already awarded and the construction is already started. Like Ranjit Bilkon is working in one of the tender. Seagull is working one of the tender, and Mia Construction is also working one of the tender. Now the project is started. We will give you project related contacts. If the product companies wanted to reach out to these guys who are actually taking care of that project in that location. Here if you see, these are the two persons which is directly now related to project. There are many actually. If you want, if you will, there is a feedback button here. If you wanted to request from us to this feedback button, we will help you within 24/7. Any more contacts you require related to the product from the contracting companies. Here you will see the project related important documents. You can just click and download any document here. And these are the project updates. So whenever we will get any update related to the project, we will immediately add here. So very latest update we got is the latest project update we got in 30 December is ILFS Engineering Construction has a won 303 crore contract from Seagull India. So this is a Seagull subcontracted this tender, their package to ILFS Engineering Construction Company. So this is how one of the project page I'll show you. You can search any airport, road, highways, water projects, renewable energy projects, non-renewable energy projects pages in this platform. So this is a generally project page looks like. This is the company's page, the owner's page, and the professional page, like this. Any doubt?
No, Jagdish.
So I'll just show you the reporting structure. Just 1 minute. So this is how weekly PPT we will provide you. Once we will provide this all weekly updates for our clients, so they will get to know about the what are the latest update in that week. This is how the stages we are tracking. This is some of the indicators, projects overview. During this stage, how many number of projects we track, according to which category, everything. Some projects updates, conceptual theory, projects launch in which zone. Some of the
The
special
screen is the same. Sorry, Jagdish.
Yes,
The
yes.
screen, the screen hasn't changed actually.
Screen hasn't. Just give me 1 minute. I'll share it again. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Now it's visible.
Not yet. Yeah.
Now visible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a impact weekly PPT which we'll share with our client on weekly basis. You will get to know everything about what happened during that week, what project in what stage, what is the activities happen, what is the L1 declare, what is the new tenders launch, what is the conceptual planning stage projects during that week announced with the what cost is any financing mode, everything. This is the stages we are tracking. This is some microeconomic performance. This is a project overview from the 5th April to 11th April. We tracking the stages wise projects and their count with the categories included about this 158. This is the some of the conceptual projects theory, some of the conceptual approved projects zone wise. The count is also, you can see which state, how many number of the projects during that week. This is some of the special showcasing of the conceptual projects like a Bharat Mandap Cultural Center development in Maharashtra. Government of Maharashtra is planning. So some of the another conceptual projects, 3-lane railway overbridge in Indore, Science City Amravati, conceptual projects, Delhi Metro extension. This is a approved project in Gujarat. So you will get to know from this PPT everything what is happening during that week in India about the construction at each zone with the projects we are tracking always about 10 crore. And there are, we are tracking the DPR tenders also, which generally below 10 crore. But through DPR, we will inform you where the projects are coming. Like this is some railway project approved during last week with the cost, the project details. Like this. Some of the DPR projects tendering. Yeah.
So Jagdish, it's done.
It's done.
Okay. Thank you, Jagdish. So let's move on to our next main agenda of the day. So coming to the topic of discussion of the roundtable, as you know, the construction industry is undergoing a rapid transformation, with new technologies playing a pivotal role in enhancing efficiency, reducing cost, and improving safety. From robotics and AI-driven project management to digital twins and 3D printing, automation is reshaping how projects are designed, executed, and maintained. Against this backdrop, today's virtual panel discussion will explore the latest technologies and their impact on the construction sector. Our guests for today's webinar include Dr. Nikhil Bugalia from IIT Madras, Mr. Joy Mukherjee from I3DC Solutions, Mr. K. Senu from L&T Construction, and Mr. Manish Jain from Flow Mobility. The session will be moderated by Ms. Nikita Krishnan from KPMG India. So before I hand over the virtual platform to our moderator, let me introduce her and our fellow panelist. So Ms. Nikita Krishnan is a technical director in the Transformation Major Projects Advisory Practice of business consulting from KPMG in India. She has over 25 years of comprehensive experience in urban infrastructure and development. A seasoned urban planner, she has led the design management and delivery of multidisciplinary urban infrastructure projects, working with a wide spectrum of clients, including public and private sector entities, as well as multilateral development agencies. Then we have our Dr. Nikhil Bugalia. He is an assistant professor in the Building Technology and Construction Management Group at the Department of Civil Engineering at IIT Madras. His research is focused on finding solutions to the challenges related to the occupational health and safety and sustainability in the construction industry. His research group works at the intersection of applying technical tools such as text mining, computer vision, and virtual reality and system thinking based qualitative and quantitative methodologies such as system dynamics modeling and case studies approach to identify risk and develop and implement solutions for the construction segment. Then we have Mr. Joy Mukherjee. With over 25 years of working experience with leading organizations such as Reliance, Wipro, EY, and Oracle. He has spent over the past 12 years as specializing in digital transformation within the construction industry. His focuses on enabling construction-focused organization to leverage digital technologies to optimize operation, enhance project delivery, and foster seamless collaboration across teams. Then we have Mr. K. Senu, who is the head of technical services at building and factories at L&T Construction. He is a chairperson of sectional committee 32 of BIS prefabricated construction. His portfolio also includes construction methods, precast construction, 3D printing, and robotics, plant and machinery, concrete management, steel services centers, quarry, and L&T formwork factory. He has more than 25 years of experience in the construction industry. He is well known for his construction expertise in mechanization and implementation of the latest technologies. And we have Mr. Manish Jain, who is the founder and CEO of Flow Mobility, a company building robotics for the construction industry. He has been running startups for the last 10 years. His previous venture was acquired by Reliance Jio, and now he is running Flow Mobility for 4 years. An advocate of green technologies, Mr. Jain is deeply passionate about robotics and envisions future with machines that take care of productivity and humans take care of creativity. So with this, on behalf of First Construction Council, I would like to welcome you all. And also I would like to hand over the virtual podium to Ms. Nikita Krishnan to take the proceeding forward.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. I'm audible?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone, once again. and thank you, Mr. Rao, for the set of introductions. I will briefly set the context of this virtual panel discussion. And just to set the context, we all are aware that the construction industry in India stands at the cusp of a transformative era. And as the cornerstone of our economy, it contributes approximately 10 to 10.5% of the GDP and employs more than 50 million people. Yet it faces persistent challenges, whether it is labor shortages, project delays, cost overruns, or safety concerns, which is where automation in construction steps in. The term construction automation captures the processes, the tools, the equipments that use automated workflows to construct buildings and infrastructure. Therefore, automation actually offers us a beacon of hope, addressing key challenges and enhancing the efficiency, productivity, and sustainability of the industry. Just to give a few examples, recently in India, the adoption of BIM, Building Information Modeling, has led to a 15% reduction in construction cost and a 30% decrease in project timelines. As a similar example, drones have expedited site inspections by up to 60%, while modular construction techniques have accelerated project delivery by 30 to 35%, some say even to a higher degree. So, automation at the same time can mitigate the impact of labor shortages and provide new opportunities for skilled workers and enhancing the job quality. So today at this forum, we will further explore how automation can reshape the construction landscape in India. We will delve into various aspects, including 4 themes that we are covering now, which is the effect of technology on construction industry, challenges and adoption barriers, what are the gains in terms of cost, productivity, and efficiencies, and what is the future outlook of tech-driven construction industry. Our goal is to envision a future where construction is not only more efficient and cost-effective, but at the same time is safer and sustainable. So from the logistic perspective, we will pose our queries to this learned panel and allow them a few minutes to respond per person. At the end of the interaction, we will open up the floor for questions from our gathered attendees who can then share their perspectives. So I will then pose my first question to Mr. Sinu. Mr. Sinu, given your experience in the construction industry, how has the construction processes and methods changed due to the influence of new technologies and automation, more specifically in the last 10 years? Because that is where we have seen a rapid shift in the construction technology.
So good afternoon and warm hello to all of you, my co-panelists as well as all the participants. This is the right questions what you are asked. Now, if you look at the construction industry for the last 10 years, it has been growing at the rate of about 5 to 6%. Now, presently it is more than the GDP or it's at par with the GDP. So when there is so much of growth is happening, the challenges are bigger. Now the challenges are like the project delivery. The project delivery is shrinking. The timelines are shrinking. And the clients are expecting the projects, generally it takes about 5 years time to be delivered in 3 years time. And the other big challenge what we are facing right now, last 10 years, what we have been facing is skill levels. There's a diminishing skill levels. Now in the construction industry, the skill levels are in single digit. If you say single digit, out of 100%, hardly 98% only skilled. The balance, everything is consist of only unskilled. So how to address this entire scenario? So 10 years back, we have a lot of agendas. We have our own internal brainstorming, all those things. So we found that it is very important to classify 2 areas. One is the white collar automation. When I say white collar automation, it is more of office-based kind of a thing. So as you rightly put it, BIM plays a major role in design, development and automation kind of things. And not only that, it brings, especially for the EPC projects where it is a complex in nature, it brings many people in the forum and it gives a platform for everybody to contribute so that we are able to reduce the timeline, because the timelines also has come down drastically, 50%, because the project duration has come down. Then again, the extended benefit of BIM is we are able to solve a lot of logistics issue. We have developed a lot of apps, so we are able to track our materials. There's a huge amount of material starts flowing into the projects, especially where you have composite construction, where structural steels are there. Identifying those elements at the site itself a big task. So that tracking has really helped us. So that we have implemented in the last 10 years as a digital platform. Then when it comes to the project monitoring and planning, yes, there are so many things. As you rightly said, some projects we are used to drones, and some projects, we used to monitor with the cameras, but now the development is little different. Now, most of our plant and machineries, we have about more than 13,000 equipments, all are connected with IoT. So we are getting the real-time data, so we are able to optimize and we are able to control the resources and better utilize, and also the kind of fuel dispensing, everything is automated across all the projects. So everything you can see on the dashboard and take a decision. That helps.
Right,
And we have many apps, quality, safety, everything. When it comes to the real construction issue, that when I was discussing about blue collar mechanization, we have introduced precast. Last 10 years, we have been working very diligently on the precast, and that has taken mainstream now. The housing sector, especially in the residential, it is going on with the precast. And we have completed the high-rise building 96 flats in 96 days. And some of the composite construction we did in 45 days. And we have also developed, invested on 3D printing. We have done a lot of 3D printing structures. That is going to be the promise in the future. So this is how now the last 10 years, there are so much of development has happened in the industry.
Great. So I will take this discussion forward and bring forth the next question, or as a follow-up to Mr. Manish Jain. Manish, while we are talking about the technologies which are transforming the sector, in your opinion, is this transformation uniform across regions, states, or even assets such as commercial, mixed use, non-commercial? We are talking about warehouses, data centers, etc. So what is your view on that?
Absolutely. So thanks a lot for inviting us to the panel, and a very warm good afternoon to everyone. So before we talk about, so obviously I wouldn't say that automation has reached to all projects or all regions uniformly, but let's quickly try to understand when we say automation, what do I mean by that, right? So you can clearly see there are two themes, right? One is this digitalization, right? When we talk about a BIM or a AI or using cloud project management software, right? There's an entire digitalized way of manner of functioning, which is also part of automation. And then there is this kind of a hardware centric real task execution where you use drones or robots to execute the stuff, right? So both these things, I think digitalization probably has much more matured in terms of the availability of platform and integration across different sites. So that I think is kind of leading the wave of automation when we talk about digitalization of processes. But the other aspect of automation where using mechanized or intelligent machines, I would say, we anyways use a lot of mechanization on construction sites, but use of, let's say, robots or drones is something which I think has happened only in certain specific pockets, right? I think we are still at a very nascent stage of adoption of these technologies into our construction sites. And there are multiple reasons, right? I think construction sites, each site is unique, right? Each project, each geography has its own unique nuances. And for automation to work, your underlying foundation of people, process, and technology has to be in place, right? Then only automation really works from a hardware intelligent machine perspective, right? So I think I would still say there is a long way to go in terms of what can be done. We are still at a very early stage where large projects or projects which have high visibility or industry leaders like L&T, they are still trying to bring automation, the hardware automation that I'm talking about. But apart from that, I think a long tail of buildings across sectors and across types has been a challenge, right? And there are also very clear two buckets. One bucket is for infra projects where automation has different needs because these are generally long, large projects. And then you have this high-rise commercial, residential, mall, airports, data centers, kind of the projects building and factory is what we call them. So my sense is building and factory is where things are happening much faster as compared to infra. So it is a quite distributed thing, and I think Shinu also talked about the skill of people available, right? Automation is as good as the people who are actually implementing it, right? And hence, I would say it is, I think, scattered growth. There is a lot of room for us to have a widespread adoption of automation across industries, what I would say.
Yeah, actually, yes, it depends upon the building asset, the region. But following that up, I would like to put my next question to Mr. Joy Mukherjee. Mr. Mukherjee, we heard about regional disparity, regional adaptability. But if we were to look at the industry or the construction sector as a whole, which is again rapidly evolving, in your opinion, how are Indian construction companies adapting to this shift and embracing technology as we go forward?
Thank you so much for this question, and thank you so much for this opportunity to speak up. Good evening, everybody. This is a very important question, I would say, because technology is a need. Everybody is accepting that. Hope my voice is audible. Yeah. Technology is a need everybody has realized, and technology certainly, and the way construction industry is evolving, as you rightly started out saying, it's the need of the hour. Have customers or have the construction industry adopted technology? The straight answer is yes. Is there a scope for improvement? The answer is again a big yes. Because what has happened is we have tried to do automation, and we have gone with automation in a bit in a bit sporadic way, I would say. What was needed, what was specific to a particular pain point. It was not a holistic view. Some of the large organizations have taken in that perspective, but there is a huge scope for the market to adopt technologies, because at the end of the day, we are talking about improving efficiency. At the end of the day, we are talking about improving bottom line, and more importantly, safety and quality. All this will come in when we have a seamless data flow. Now, that data is residing in at multiple buckets, and that data silo is somewhere which needs to be navigated, is what my sense is. So what we are seeing is there are early adopters, like L&T and some of the other organizations, and then there are some organizations which are trying the catch-up, game. But yes, there is a huge scope, and that scope needs to be, covered soon for industry to gain efficiencies. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. And while we have heard from the industry till now, let me bring in the academia into the discussion, for which I will turn to Dr. Nikhil Bugalia. So, Dr. Bugalia, from your research, how are you seeing significant use of automation for ensuring construction compliance, safety in the course of the recent past?
Thank you, Nitika, for that question, and thank you for having me here. I actually resonate some of the views of the other panelists that have been shared, and my answer to that question is yes. It's like a mixed bag reaction, right? Particularly, my research was focusing on, you touched upon that topic, but not precisely. It's basically the disparity of safety practices among the large, small, and the medium construction projects, right? And actually, if you see the volume side of it, there's a lot of small construction projects that happen in our country, and they just go unneglected in terms of the safety practices and all. Yeah, in terms of, I will not put it into again a bucket of automation, and all these terms have slightly different connotation. But yes, as previous speakers was mentioning about the softwares and the tools, there have been few interesting updates with that. For example, I know a lot of companies are managing internal databases about accidents on their sites, and like a dashboard that we just saw, a site national level database within that, and that dashboard will help enable them quick decision making or quick intervention in a site, right? There is a lot more reporting system. A lot of companies are directly enabling their employees through an app to report some of these near misses and all. PPE check related smart cameras and all, I think, are finding some application in, of course, in niche pockets, I would not say widespread. But again, as Mr. Joy was mentioning, that there are early adopters and then there are few people who are trying to adopt, and there are genuine issues. So there have been, I would say, the applications right now, at least in the safety domain, are more pilot scale. I would not say it's a company-wide practice. Even in a single organization, I will not say that it's uniform across all projects. Definitely smaller projects, smaller companies have a lot to focus on, and perhaps this is what our industry and as academic, our role comes in, that we develop certain technologies and tools that can be easily adapted to the needs of these smaller projects. The design stage opportunities is something that we are completely missing, because I think when we look at construction safety, a lot of our focus is only on things happening on the site. But I'm a firm believer that actually construction projects also needs to be designed to be safe for occupational health and safety perspective as well. And that's where the uses of BIM, uses of construction processes, visualization has a lot more role to play. And these, I don't see anything even happening in terms of India specific development at this stage. So a pessimistic perspective as a researcher, which we always do, but I am hopeful from the panel also today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bugalia. So one common thing which has emerged from the discussion as of now is some of the, I won't say problems, but some of the issues and challenges which are coming in the adoption and adaptability as well in the industry. So these could be of a different nature. We'll try to address each panelist and take their views on these barriers which are being faced by the industry. So coming back to you, Mr. Sinu, you've been a stalwart in the industry. So in your opinion, what are the operational and financial challenges in large scale adoption of mechanized and automated construction methodologies?
Okay. See, again, I am just putting it in two baskets. One is white collar automation. The other one is the blue collar automation. This is our mechanization, whatever it is. Okay, this terms can be slightly here and there. When we talk about the white collar automation, for example, implementation of even BIM. Now, today, what is happening in Indian context is there is nothing like a pre-construction kind of a stage. If you see in overseas how it happens is, so people used to do the entire design and everything. They take about a year's time to complete everything. They create the model and check everything. Then they float it for the construction. But country like in India, where we are fast tracking the entire thing because we have to catch up. So what is happening here is we do everything simultaneously. One side you will start developing the model, the other side you will be start digging the ground, and this is a kind of a mismatch happens. So in the process, what happens is we start getting into the conventional practice because of the timeline issues. So once you start getting into the timeline option, whatever this kind of automation you are bringing in, that will not see the complete end of it. So somewhere in the middle, you may have to drop and switch over to the conventional practices. This is one big issue, whatever is happening right now. So, and one more, another issue is if it is only item rate contract kind of a thing where somebody else is designing, he might not have developed all this digital platform and everything. So you have to necessarily get into the conventional practice, except you develop certain apps for the quality, safety, everything. That is okay. That is independent of the project's natures. So that can happen. So when it comes to the blue collar automation, that is the major thing. White collar automation, whether it is there or not, somehow you will be able to manage. But the main timeline is because of the blue collar automation, where you have to execute the project, whether you will be able to do automation and mechanization. That is a big question. So if at all, if you have to do that kind of automation, what the other countries are doing, there is a huge capital investment is required. Okay. Suppose if I tell you like if you have to put up an industrialized way of doing the things, that's how the developed countries does. So you have to put up about 100 crore worth of a factory. From there, you should start producing the components and so start sending to across the country. But the problem here is our logistics cost is 10 to 12% when compared to the normal project cost. So automatically it defeats the entire the purpose of it. So this kind of a logistics issue and this, the initial high cost and regulatory issues, because again, whether India as a whole has a developed nation, but whether the technology has deep rooted into construction, if you ask me, no, we are very, very, very traditional people. It is very, very difficult for everyone to break the convention. It is not that easy to bring in automation and everything, but still, in spite of all these hurdles, we are doing it. Now, if you see, enough of standardization is happening in this industry. If you ask me, no. When compared to the Western world, we are not doing that much of standardization. Every building is unique, every detail is unique. So every architect, every structural engineer wants to put their signature. So we are finding it very difficult to standardize. So this is another constraint for us to implement all those things. And if you ask me whether any R&D is happening, the R&D on the blue collar mechanization automation is very, very limited. Not much is happening in India because that investment is not much. Okay, certain individual companies, we can invest and do something, but it is not widely available. So that investment is missing here in India. So that kind of R&D funding is really not there. But if you ask me, government is taking certain initiatives like global housing technology challenges and all that has come up from the urban ministry, central government, where we had a lot of interactions, and they also given a kind of pilot projects using various technology, tunnel formwork, PPVC, all those technologies. But it is not, you have to compete with the conventional construction again. Okay, when you have to be pitched against the conventional construction, okay, your initial costs are very high. So you'll not be able to recover. So people are kind of afraid of getting into this kind of a mechanization and automation, especially in the blue collar jobs. That is where the need of the hour today, because we don't have the skill level of the people. So these are all the constraints are there, irrespective of all these issues and everything, but still we are progressing. Okay, so still
Definitely.
there is,
And
we
it's very
are
heartening.
failing.
And it's very heartening to see that whether it is maybe not the entire value chain, but in different facets of the value chain, the automation has stepped in. And even if wherever it has not stepped in, at least the adaptability or the willingness to move towards that has come in. So while we have discussed these challenges, Mr. Manish Jain, over to you now. You have been actively working in deployment of robotics at construction sites. So what are some of the biggest barriers? And then what are some of the solutions for it, in your opinion, which you
Sure.
can share with us?
Sure. So I think as I kind of already referred to earlier, right? Automation technology is a function of the workflow, right? If I can deploy a robot, but nobody assigns work to the robot, then robot wouldn't do anything, right? So unless you have this people and processes in place for automation to actually deliver value, it cannot deliver, right? And that is why it cannot be done in silo or in a as a point solution. It has to be an integrated solution, right? Having said that, and there's another complication. The construction site is a very buzzing environment, right? You have so many things happening at the site, right? There's a vendor who is delivering the goods, at the same time goods movement is happening, some other contractor is doing something, the hoist is allocated to somebody for some time. So there's so much so much activity going on. It has to be orchestrated well for automation to actually deliver value. So I think that is something which is our biggest learning, that automation is not about just, or robot is not about just building a robot. The actual value comes when you can integrate that robot into the existing workflow, when the work is assigned to the robot, when the workflow is seamless and the processes are established, so that automation tools like a robot or a drone can actually deliver their value, right? So the way we have tried to solve this problem is pick up a small problem and automate that, and then keep increasing the extent of automation slowly, right? So right now we've decided to start with material movement. So just handle the material, move the material, which is kind of a isolated process. Then you go into wall finishing, painting, filling, drone facade cleaning, right? So just keep expanding that. But it is something which will take time, because where as processes mature, people also have to be skilled. They have to be trained to use the machines, and then machines also have to evolve to understand the variable dynamics of the construction site, which is very different from the robotics that you see in a warehouse or in a manufacturing location, right? Those are still very structured environments, right? So our biggest hurdle has been this, right? The unstructured environment and so many parties coming together and executing the task, right? It's a art, I would say, right? When you go to a construction site and you see what is happening there, it's so much activity and everybody moving, and then we are running around, and a lot of times there's a project delay, so there are deadlines, right? Now that is the hurdle, but at the same time, that is the potential also, right? That if we can solve that, if we can deliver value, then the industry today is completely ready. They are just looking for the solutions which can actually help them solve this problem. So as founders, as solution providers, I think the way out is think about it as an end-to-end solution and go to customer with a kind of a outcome-based solution rather than a product solution. You just take this product, see if we can actually tie in the outcome with that product. And if we can do that, then we'll start this cycle of adoption, which I think will eventually spiral into
So that's a very good point you
widespread
made. But
adoption
if you,
across that. But
sorry, I think there was a lag. I think the point which you made is vital, that when we concentrate on one aspect of the entire chain, maybe in that we can even take care of aspects which Mr. Seenu brought out, which was like logistics, the supply chain management, and other aspects, so that it becomes more robust in its delivery, and then you can take it to an owner. So I'll bring that aspect and take that question to Mr. Joy Mukherjee, that, like when we take a solution for a product or a technology, what, in your opinion, is then the leadership's perspective on technology adoption in construction? And in their opinion, what tangible value do they see that which it will bring to the organization, to the project, or to a project site?
Right. So one of the, alluding to all the conversations that is happening, why construction project is the biggest challenge. I will answer this before. Is that this is one thing which is very difficult compared to any other industry. When we have to deliver a project, there are so many stakeholders, so many variables, so many aspects. It is very difficult to manage it with one set of processes, one set of standardization, which Mr. Seenu was also referring to.
Yes.
Now, obviously, the senior management wants to adopt technology, and adoption has been a problem in the Indian context, because standardization again is a bit of a problem. But how the senior leadership is looking into, which is coming to your question, is that they want adoption to happen. At the same time, because of the adoption, the delivery timelines cannot be extended because that is sacrosanct. At the same time, but what the senior leadership is looking at is a single version of truth, where he or she can take decisions which is more proactive and proactive in nature, where a predictive analytics sort of a scenario, will help him have that, crystal gauge, the future of the project, timely intervene when there are issues in terms of his rest, schedule, time, cost, you name it. There are variables, a lot of variables which can impact a project. Now, senior leadership is keen. Senior leadership is getting in the data, but is the requirement much higher than what he is getting? My answer would be yes, because his confidence on the data, and you can open up any research that has been recently done, and I can quote few, but the confidence level is not that high, and the reason for that is that the seamlessness of the standardization which is needed. Will it happen in the Indian context? The answer is yes, it has to happen. How it will happen? I think it will evolve the way our democracy and the Indian democracy has evolved. It is similar to that, because we have so many variables. We have our ways of doing things, which is the Indian way. So, one solution fits all will not fit in here. There will be a lot of customization. There will be a lot of, controls that needs to be brought in. But two important areas which is needed is, one, the senior management leadership is very important in this in this aspect, and the second most important thing is ease of adoption, which Manish also touched upon, and the ease of adoption will play a very important role, because unless and until the solution is easy, what Mr. Seenu was referring to, white collar and blue collar, and his challenge has been with the blue collar. Even there, today everybody is using smartphone, but if he or she can use something which is that easy as using a smartphone or going to YouTube and clicking on, or using a Facebook, if the solution or the adoption is that easy, he or she might. And then the control processes, all those play a very important role. So coming to your, cutting the whole story short, is that senior leadership sees value, they are investing, but are they getting the right kind of ROI in terms of the investment or the effort they are putting in? I would say not yet, but yes, the road is very bright and the efforts are certainly going on. Keeping the delivery that they have to deliverables also in line with whatever the expectations are.
So when you spoke about the ease of adoption, one of the major aspects which comes into fore is training. So I'll take my question to Dr. Bugalia. You have been involved in this aspect. So what in your opinion are some of the challenges of, let's say, integrating VR, virtual reality, and simulation-based training in construction project management?
So once again, thank you. And I think it's a beauty that I am going last because all the points are actually very well conveyed, my fellow panelists, and that's good. It's
That's
it's
why also
important
we are
to.
coming at the end to you because we want the outside perspective. We are covering the
For
industry
me,
first.
it's an important validation that some of the
Yes.
hypotheses that I am having is also resonated by the feeling of the fellow industry panelists. And thank you. Coming back to this, I think, see, of course, with any technology, there are few general barriers, like particularly, for example, VR. There is still a development cycle of any scenario for training. It's still reasonably long. So by the time you develop something, test it out, launch it, the whole technology ecosystem evolves because this is so rapidly evolving. And this, I think it happens with every automation, the sensor systems and everything evolves so fast. So how do you catch up with that and how do you plan in advance? That, of course, is one challenge. But I think the biggest challenge is, which of course Mr. Joy was also touching, is this question of ROI and getting a clarity on whether things will work for me or not. And this is where I think we are missing as a big picture. And in India, I think we have a habit of technology leapfrogging, as we talk about, right? That we, like right now, we are the biggest user of this chat GPT, and hardly any of us know what are the kind of impact that it has the potential to create, right? And this is the challenge, that we are really early adopters and we are good to follow the buzzwords, but the full follow up on the kind of impact that a technology intervention is going to have in your company, assessing that full extent is something that we are not doing enough, is in my opinion, right? And that takes effort. For example, when we develop a VR game, you need to understand it from a effectiveness of the knowledge gain, right? Or now the question even becomes, what is the knowledge gain? Are you happy with a construction worker knowing theoretically, or are you looking at somebody their practical skills in enhancing something or the task that you are trying to do? Now, estimate, if you ask me right now, globally, there is very little evidence that VR actually creates a lot of practical skills enhancement because that has not been tested. And that testing that requires actual support from industry to do some pilot studies and figure out that these things are actually working or not. But I mean, but there's a plethora of evidence which says that yes, people are able to retain things better and knowledge better, or some theoretical knowledge better. But I'm pretty sure practical skills are much more relevant for industry, and theoretical knowledge is not going to give you that ROIs that you are looking for, right? So these are some of the mismatches in terms of what we expect out of the do and what we actually test these technologies for. And this is where the again, I'm trying to sell myself, of course, but idea is that the R&D part of it, which was highlighted by previous fellow panelists as well, is you need to have a lot more assessment of the impact of the technology on various dimensions. Again, coming back to the Manish point, people, process, technology. When technology changes, the people and the process have to adapt, and they will also have an impact. If we are able to quantify that, measure that for a slightly reasonably long period of time, then I'm pretty sure we can design better business models to also receive that ROIs that everyone is looking for. So this, too, in my opinion, is one thing, that we adopt technologies much fast, but we do not assess them fully, the impact of them, and therefore we are not able to adapt to these technologies or our own process so that we can develop our own specific needs. And to me, this is one of the biggest, that innovation cycle does not continue because we are very short-term focused assessment of things. I'll just stop. I'll add more points later on this.
Sure, sure. When we are talking about assessment and its adaptability, what the industry obviously looks for is what is it getting out of this, let's say, the investment and the rollout within their organization and the cost factors. So, what are the tangible gains? What are the intangible gains? Is something that we will have the next set of questions figured around. So in that, I will again start with Mr. Sinu. If you could just share that how is L&T leveraging automation to enhance sustainability, particularly about reduction of material waste, C&D waste, or whether it is improvement of utilizations in or efficiency in energy utilizations.
Okay, see, we are committed to carbon neutrality in line with the Indian government, and our goal is by 2040 we want to be carbon neutral company. Okay, so that's the idea. So all our activities are towards that. For example, now in the construction sites, the more carbon emitting the footprint is coming from the fossil fuel usage. Huge amount of fossil fuel used for cranes, transit mixers, and so on and so forth. So now our first aim is to move from the fossil fuel to electricity. From there again go to the renewable energy. So this is how we are, adopting the movement. Now, when we talk about fossil fuel, now what we are doing is, as I was earlier, I was just discussing with you, all our plant and machineries are digitally connected. So we have the real-time data on its efficiency, utility, whether that particular idle time, and whether it is due for maintenance, everything is available with us. So we are able to monitor. Not only this, the entire fuel dispensing for those equipments are completely digitized. Okay, it is completely automated. So you just with the fuel dispensers, we go and dispense it, and also the fuel levels in the each and every equipments will be monitored from the dashboard. So we have a complete control over that. So with that, we are able to monitor exactly what is the fuel consumption. Even if there is a slight mismatch on the fuel consumption, we are able to get the alert. See, for example, I'll give you how the decision making happens. So when we use the transit mixers for transporting the concrete, we have a certain norm. Okay, 1 liter per cubic meter is the norm. Okay, suddenly in particular site or somewhere, if this goes up, so then we are able to understand what is really happening on that. For example, certain decisions like this. If the batching plant is very close to the site, so we are able to bring down the fuel consumption drastically. So that kind of a decision, okay, we have taken a decision like, okay, the batching plant should not be beyond 2 kilometers away from the sites. So if it is beyond 2 kilometers away, we have to brainstorm it and see whether we have any other source from where we will be able to get the concrete. So this kind of a decision making is happening because of the digitalization platform which we have created. And not only that, because our aim is to move to renewable energy sources. Now we started adopting autonomous utility equipments. We also got certain equipment from Mr. Manish. Our sites, we are on the trial basis. We have started using it for about 13 sites. So we are right now, we have. And concrete pumps, we started getting a VFT driven concrete pumps, electrical pumps, we started adopting instead of the diesel pumps. And also the compressors, electrical compressor, we started putting it at the sites. So these are all the various measures we are taking now. Apart from that, again, the solar energy. At a site level, if you see all the street lights are with the solar panels, solar energy, we are operating it. And also even the labor colonies are equipped with the solar panels so that they will be able to get the daytime, whatever the electricity is needed, all that is taken care of. So we have done a lot of enough of work. And apart from that, we have a green tariff. We pay the green tariff and take this renewable energy, and also open access is available in Bangalore. Most of the sites are getting the green energy from there. So if you look at me for this particular vertical of buildings and factories, almost 25 to 30% is the green energy now what we are utilizing it. Okay, so this is a huge shift. So we are marching towards that. When again it comes to the other areas, for example, we have a steel service center pan-India basis. So this is a completely automated steel service centers are there. So where all this steel are processed in automated machines, where the wastage, because these raw materials are coming in coils. When it is coming in coils, it is for the entire sites, various sites we will be distributing it, and we are able to reduce the wastage drastically. So it is only a matter of 0.5 to 1% is what is the wastage. When compared to about 3% is a standard wastage which generally sites used to generate. So these kind of measures we are taking. And if you look at 3D printing, what the recent adoption. So when you go in for a 3D printing, what happens? You don't use this plywood or timber shutters to create as a formwork. That is a huge relief. That's one of the sustainability goals. So you don't use those kind of a material. It is only just you have to put the program into the system and everything. You just pour the concrete and it will be forming in the layers. So a lot of materials are getting eliminated. Rather, so this contributes for the sustainability will in the industry. So, and also recently we have automated one of our formwork factory. We produce the component for the formworks. So to my surprise, we took about a 6 months to do the entire automation, and we could able to replace a huge number of unskilled workmen with those kind of automation. It is a very simple automation because you need to have a conveyor system, you need to have servo motors and other things to streamline. And there also we could able to bring down the wastage like anything. So automation, one way if you look at it, it works very well in industrial setup, where you will be able to bring it down your wastage, you will be able to bring down your energy requirement, everything. But when the same thing happens at the site level, we are not able to really control. That's the issue right now we are facing.
So to deal with some of these issues, we have technological interventions, maybe related, maybe not related to what you have just mentioned, like digital twins, BIM, planning softwares, collaboration platforms. So, Mr. Mukherjee, in your opinion, how do you think these technologies are expected to transform the construction landscape?
What I'm looking for or hearing to, and what I hear from Mr. Shinu also, is that everybody is looking for repeatable success. How I can repeat a success in project A in project B. And what is stalling that is our mindset of jugaad, because we Indians have this tendency of fixing it once, but if we have to fix it second time, we have a challenge. And that is because we have taken some shortcuts, we have just managed it, we don't know how to repeat it. And that is where robotics will play a big role. That is where all this digitization will play a big role. Now, coming specifically to the digital twin or the digital solution, which caters to all the full spectrum of projects. What it will do is it will, one, try to bring in standardization. Second, will be able to give in that proactiveness in terms of visibility of what is missing, what is falling between the cracks. Because in today, when we go and meet up with the industry leaders and the thought leaders in this space, what we are seeing commonly is that there is data, and that data is certainly is the basis for all the decision and all the work that is happening. But from a digital perspective, there is still a lot of things that can be done. And the adoption is happening. The adoption has to happen because the industry is looking at, because a lot of these companies are listed or are aspiring to be listed. So obviously, repeatable success will play a big role. So from that perspective, digitization is the need of the hour and also is a must-have situation need because that is where all the efficiency and all the data correctness, because common data environment, which is again a term I'm using here, is very important. But how do you get that data? You will get that data when you have, a repository where all the verticals, all the respective stakeholders can pull in that data, where your digital twin will play a role, where digital collaboration will play a role, your planning sanctity and maintaining that standardization will play a big role. And that is where that those efficiencies will come in. My sense is that in the next 5 years' time, if we have to have this conversation again, we'll see a very big difference because obviously industry will gain a lot by that time in terms of.
So when we are talking about the change in the industry in the next 5 years, one very niche area of intervention is robotics. And for that, I'll take my question to Mr. Manish Jain. We've seen that robotics have taken over repetitive tasks. So, and we also hear that so many jobs will be replaced once the robots or machine learning and AI takes over. So, how do you think this balance of human creativity will evolve in vis-a-vis the robotics taking over the repetitive tasks in the construction project execution?
Interesting. I think this is a debate which we keep having often, right?
Yes.
So first things first, right? Nobody can stop a technology whose time has come.
Right.
This is the force of nature. You have to adapt to it rather than fighting it. Secondly, I don't think that it is kind of the kind of picture which is being painted that jobs will be lost and all. I think it's about, can we do more with the number of people that we have today rather than saying that okay, people will lose jobs. Are we existing projects? They are already delayed. Are we doing everything on time? We are anyways running short on resources. So robotics or automation is a way to augment the existing resources and let the people do more in whatever time and effort that is available, right? And then now if you extend this thinking that I keep saying this, right, that let robots take care of productivity and humans should take care of creativity, right? How do we can humans spend more time on standardizing the process? Can we spend more time on improving our design? Can we spend more time on improving our materials? We talked so much about sustainability, right? We have to research more about how can we be more sustainable at the time of building and also at the time of after the built environment, right? Maintaining the built environment, right? I think that is where all the human creative energies would go into to find solutions of those problems and this entire repetitive risky task, right? Because see, again, human beings, there is a certain cognitive limit that we have in terms of our ability to process data, and there are physical abilities, limitation on physical abilities in terms of how long we can work, right? So there is a fatigue which sets in after some time, and all these impacts eventually the quality of the work, right? Versus a robot which has to do the same thing repeatedly again and again, it would deliver the same thing with absolute 100% similar uniform consistency. And it doesn't deteriorate with time over that, right? So I think let robot do what they are good at, which is in terms of extending the physical limits, and humans should be more creative about how do we do things better in terms of process, new technologies, new materials, new ways of building, and there's no limit to creativity, right? So I am very hopeful from that perspective that this will free up the time to do things better, and robots will take care of making sure that whatever we plan is executed as per the plan.
That's a very nice way of putting it, and I think a very interesting way of maybe shutting down the debate for a little while. So moving to Dr. Bugalia on the same topic, how can AI and computer vision be leveraged to proactively identify and mitigate safety risks on construction sites? Because this is a big challenge that we are facing. Human safety and sustainability across the entire projects regions is something that we have to step up in the industry. So what are your views on the same?
I definitely find it interesting the question about it is like proactive, right? And the question about what do we even call proactive. So, for example, when you are detecting a person not wearing a PPE on site or a helmet on site, is it proactive enough, or are we talking about okay, the operation of the crane, the design, the way it is designed to do its activity, is that proactive enough, right? And uh, definitely there is a lot more emerging thought process about design for safety, as I've been emphasizing, where the thought about safety for people, safety for the process, safety for occupational perspective actually goes right from the conceptualization of the project, and that actually is related to the selection of the technology, selection of the material, the whole process of construction, the sequence of activity, the method statements, and so on and so forth, right? And there is a lot more opportunity to do so. If the application that I see, even in the literature, I do see a lot of compliance checking. For example, oh, person is not wearing a helmet, and before he started going on a scaffolding structure and all, and this is fine, this is good. On site, you can control, but could you actually develop an AI algorithm to detect whether that scaffolding that is erected is actually correct or not? Because that is itself is a quite manually challenging task. And why stop there? Can we actually, right when we actually draw the first BIM model and we do a lot of these clash checking, could we also have a construction sequence activity that we usually do to make it visualize? But right then and there, could we identify, hey, here, this is the location where crane is perhaps not going to be sufficient, and this is the path of the crane is not going to be well sufficient. And a lot of opportunities of AI to leverage in these areas are going to come, right? And yes, definitely for this, it's not going to be possible for any startup or any educational institute to disrupt these kind of problems sitting outside, because these specific activities, the sequence of activities, construction process, a lot of the depth of the work or the knowledge is deep rooted in the industry, and that's where there is a genuine opportunities to collaborate on really intervening upfront in the project stage and leveraging AI. Possibilities are limitless. And just leave with one example. So since in the US there is a very strong database available on what kind of accidents happens, what kind of things. Unfortunately, in India we do not have a nationalized database. You could actually able to identify what kind of precursors are associated with what kind of enhanced probabilities of risk of particular type. Now, when you are planning these risks in your project, immediately based on simple keyword search, you can actually detect, hey, there is a hot condition, night work, light is not proper, and therefore this activity might have a heightened risk. And that could actually trigger some sort of a enhanced intervention from the management side. So even though we are relying on a past data, it can still have an opportunity to intervene early. So there are opportunities, and imagine you just opening up about more information about the construction processes sequence will just, I think there is a very good opportunity to leverage some of these tools there. Yeah, I'll leave it at this point.
And I'm very sure that as the maturity assessment of the industry sets in, so will the automation complementarities flow in. At this stage, I'm a little mindful of the time also. So, Mr. Rakesh, do we have time for another question, or do we open up the floor for
Yeah, I think we
interaction?
can go for one round of questions, and the panelists can give us answer in short.
Yeah, so I will request all my esteemed panelists to maybe restrict your comments to maybe half of the time which you've taken earlier, if I may say so. So I'll just go to the last aspect that I wanted to cover, which is the future outlook of a tech-driven construction industry. So my question to Mr. Seenu is that from your vantage point, how will advanced automation and digital construction technologies define, or rather redefine, traditional construction workflows in the coming decade?
See, if you ask me personally, I am very positive on adopting this automation and digitalization going forward, because that's a way of life. It's going to be. Nobody can stop it. So recently, I was there in Germany. I was just visiting one of the precast factories. It was completely automized. Yeah, I know that this automation can be done in India itself, but I tried during the COVID time because of so many issues we couldn't do it. But there, what happens? 400 cubic meter of concrete per day poured, and they're creating so many panels with just hardly 5-6 people. So we have to go into a hybrid mode where we have to create an industrialized construction plus whatever we have been doing traditionally. In a hybrid kind of a mode, we have to go into it. Now, to address the conventional practice, what we have been practicing, for example, now we are in the process of developing bricklaying robots for the masonry construction. We are in advanced stage of doing that. We have invested a lot and we are doing the experiment, and it is soon we will be able to use it in our sites. And when it comes to the rebar cage, many of our sites already started adopting the robots to do the rebar cage making. So now complicated shapes and other things only the robots will do now, because we cannot expect so much of skilled manpower available for us to do that. So those things are happening now. And again, when I was there in Germany recently, so I could see even the formwork fixing, assembly, and everything is done by the robots that has been displayed. Okay, it may take some time, but maybe down the line in another 10 years time, the way in which we are going to operate, I think the way in which we are taking this initiatives, probably we will be at the end of the 10 years, we will see a sea change in our construction approach at par with international practice, what is happening. Again, there are so many small items like, bricklaying also, they have a robots. and they have developed the robots for bricklaying, and even they have the robot mules to go into the complicated sites, because we use only drones to monitor from the outside. But whereas we have to see inside what is happening is this mules, robotic mules can go inside and take out the picture, everything. It makes a comparison with the previous day, what has happened. All that you can sit in the office, you can visualize everything, and you can send that person as a proxy to go to each and every corner of your projects and get all those data. I think it was so amused to see those kind of developments are happening, but it's not that difficult for us to adopt in India, because I'm sure there are so many minds are here, they'll be able to develop. Only thing is they have to interact closely with the industry and find the solutions, like how we are developing certain systems for rebar, bricklaying, and all those things. I think I'm very, very positive going forward. We will be able to be, the construction industry will change the kind of traditional work which we have been doing into the transformation will be towards automation and digitalization. That's what I feel.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And when we are talking about automation in the next 10 years, how can we not talk about human-machine collaboration, particularly AI-enabled robots? So, Mr. Manish Jain, if you could let us know, how do you see this future of construction evolving or being shaped?
Absolutely. And I think not even 10 years, in next 5 years, you will see a drastic change, right? It's need of the hour. I don't think that it's a question of should we go or not. It's just a matter of time. Uh, See, we have to also see that India is apart from the European and Western markets, India also has a capital constraints in terms of the spend that happens on developing a new technology, right? And I think those are the barriers which it probably take some time to cross. But I am very hopeful in next 5 years, 5 to 6 years, you will see a lot of possibilities opening up where humans and machines together will be able to do at least 3x or 4x of what humans are doing today. With the same amount of labor, we'll have 3 times more projects being done. That is what is my sense. And it's not even a decade away. I think 4 to 5 years is where you will see this. The industry, I think Mr. Sinu already talked about it, industry and startup collaboration. But this capital challenge and this ability to take this leap is where that threshold is not yet crossed. But I am very, very hopeful in terms of the pace at which the adoption is increasing. I think next 4 or 5 years will be very, very interesting. There's a lot of collaboration between human machines which will happen.
So if this collaboration we will see particularly evolving on the ground, let's say anytime between 5 to 7 years from now, with the convergence of AI, cloud computing, digital platforms, machine learning, and other features, Mr. Mukherjee, how would you then see the role of traditional project managers evolving in the construction industry?
Pertinent question. How things will change. Now,
Yes.
in today's scenario, what happens is a project manager, if you ask any project manager, or for that matter, anybody who is in the project space, they are all busy. And sometimes when we do our analysis, what we realize is people don't have time to even say yes or no. If they have to adopt technology, it becomes even difficult because there is a change management aspect and there is also a time constrained aspect. Now, the way the future is evolving, one is, the AI/ML, which will be able to what, Professor also talked about, is that predictive part, which will give you a visibility as in what can happen or what might happen, which is the crystal gauging in the future case. The second is it will also help you with the advent of technology. What will happen is this is where you are doing mistake in a plan. It will tell you that this is what it is going wrong, or proactively telling you that you had to do this much of excavation, you haven't done it, so obviously you cannot meet your times, and this is what the time delay and the cost delay or the risk associated with it, those things will. And the moment the senior management gets to it, obviously, the line becomes clear. At the ground level, there are a lot of challenges, but when the senior management focuses on it, things becomes much, much clearer. So the way it will be, the quality of deliverables will increase, improve significantly. The quality of life of a project manager will also improve, because today he sometimes, for him to push up the data on project progress or cost progress, he has to sometimes himself do some crystal gazing, because he doesn't have answers to all the questions that the senior management is asking for. So he will be getting a lot of time to do quality work. And that is what I think will be the best, best case, because once the last mile guy or the project manager, he is himself getting in quality time to do quality deliverables that he is capable of, rather than doing a project coordination job. He will be able to be driving better deliverables, and that better deliverables will have a cascading effect across the value chain right up to the boardroom. This is what my sense is, the way future will evolve with advent of technology and adoption of that.
So that means it is a value-driven improvement and transformation for all the verticals which are involved in the production life, or rather implementation life cycle.
Right.
So my next question then, obviously, to Dr. Bugalia, and to maybe pick your brain and your research. So how would you then see the synergy between human decision making vis-a-vis, and now that AI, ML, robotics, etc., will be an integral part of the system, how do you think the synergy will work out in managing on-site operations and also safety considerations and protocols?
So I think I am very not really educated enough to answer that question in a brief sentence, because there are tons of knowledgeable people who are just debating about this, like what is the future, how do we see AI augmenting the capabilities of human. And with some fantastic examples already given. I think Mr. Joy was talking about how project managers role change. I do sincerely hope that project managers get more time to do creative work with the tools like AI. But I'm sure companies will find other ways to load the project managers once the AI comes. So that is definitely debatable on which direction it will go. But one thing I firmly believe is the ethical part of it, and especially when we deal on the safety side of it. And this also I found a little bit in my own research that, see, a lot of this technology is becoming black box in a way that when you disassociate people from the development process, they don't know how the decisions are being driven. And even in our research, we have found that there are methods which are highly technically accurate on technical parameters, but they may not resonate the thinking of what a human decision makers would have actually made, right? So yes, they are highly accurate on whatever the benchmark of efficiency of technical parameters is, but they really do not mimic the thought process of what a human decision maker would really do. And this to me is very important, because if you keep that decision making power completely away, we don't know what kind of safety related policy AI will generate in future, and how will it impact the people, because it is very subjective on the kind of data it has been trained on, the kind of biases that data has received on. And therefore this whole debate, and which is it's right debate about the ethical uses of AI, the explainable AI, trying to understand what is actually happening. Is it making sense with our current worldview, or is it a contradicting viewpoint? And then only adapt this technology. And this becomes even more critical when it comes to the decisions related to health and safety aspects of workers. And but yeah, I will just leave it to that. I don't have answers. My research group is trying to incorporate some of these concepts, but this is also, I think, billion-dollar questions for industry to solve, not only the construction industry, but also in general the tech industry to solve. So this is where my opinion at the moment are.
So if I were to just maybe kind of sum it up, we have in this section explored the, I would say, the transformative potential of automation and advanced technologies in the construction sector. We have also discussed the reimagining of construction through automation, and the fact that it is just not a technological advancement, it will now be a strategic necessity for India's economic growth. And I would also say the economic or environmental stewardship that we wish to project into the global economy. Again, being mindful of time, Mr. Rakesh, if we can now open up the floor for any virtual interaction with our participants.
Yeah. So there are no questions in the chat box right now, but I have one question to the panelist, particularly to the skill development part, which was discussed during the panel discussion. So I would just like to know from Mr. Dr. Bugalia and Mr. Shenu, or maybe some other panelists, what as an academically, how the institutes are reacting to, or rather preparing the skill development assets for the industry, and also how the industry is collaborating with the institute or any other way to develop the skill development skills required for their workers.
So that's a very important question, Rakesh sir. And actually, I have answer to that, which perhaps is not in favor of the industry at the moment. In a way that, see, while IIT, I can only give my context because that's where I have a little bit more experience. And IITs as an institute are also evolving. What we started as an institute of generating or developing the skilled workforce, but now we are actually being positioned as a global research and academic institutions. So our mandates are shifting from developing skilled workforce to actually focusing on the cutting edge researchers, right? So particularly when it comes to civil engineer, and I know it's a public forum and I may be called out for it in saying it openly, but if you see, we really haven't produced the civil engineers who are solving the problems of the India at the moment, in terms of the graduating the people who have joined industry and done wonders. A lot of IIT graduates, students end up going, not choosing their core areas. I'm not saying the debate of whether to work in India or not, and they have lots of different interests, and there are different definite benefits of it, in terms of a lot of these people coming up with new interesting startups, new deep tech startups, and all of that is a positive uptake on it. But it definitely is competing with the skill requirement that our construction industry has, and there is no direct inflow from us to the construction industry as such, right? But our view as an institute has been that we will do our best to give exposure to our students about what civil engineering really is. We will also give them tools, or we will design our curriculums in a way that they can think independently, they can make this decision independently. But ultimately, we cannot really force them to choose civil engineering as a profession, and therefore go deeper only on them. So considering this, what we have done is, we have actually, instead of going too heavy on civil engineering curriculum, we have actually reduced the civil engineering curriculum, and maybe concise, I will not use the word reduce, but really concised it in form of, okay, in the first or second year, you are just done with your basic exposure and the critical thinking that you need. From there onwards, it's really up to the students on what kind of courses do they want to take and where do they want to develop their skills. And all of us are there to guide them, nurture them in those kind of ideas. Now, some of those ideas, will they result into a direct job for an industry, for a civil engineering industry? We don't know. But will it lead to a interesting startup solving some of these automation related challenges? We are really hopeful for that, right? So this is our take on this. We can actually revise a lot of curriculums, providing a lot more freedom to our students in order to do that. But if it really comes on, okay, how many successful civil engineers has IIT Madras produced? I'm not sure I will be able to count too many to boast about it, right? And that's my take on it at the moment.
Mr. Senu, what is your how is L&T tackling this skill development issue?
There are 2-3 things. One is, if you look at it, supervisor level and worker levels. So we have a skill center pan India. We have more than 5-6 skill centers are there, and every year we are producing thousands of people from that IIT qualification, ITI qualification, and 10th class. They will be given a training on various trade with a stipend. Okay, then they can free to go to any of this industry, and they can work with any of these travel contractors. So that is on the supervisory level. When it comes to the workman level, we used to have a training classes at the site itself if they are unskilled. So we used to provide them the on the job training for them, and that's handholding used to happen. When it comes to the engineers, we have tied up, for example, farm work, we are tied up with 2-3 engineering colleges where they will have a special curriculum for the farm work as a trade. So as engineers, they will be able to deep dive into this farm work and they learn something, so that they come here as that particular competency, they will come here and join and work in that particular competency cell. And we also have a tie-up with the IIT for Build India Scholarship, where at a higher level programs like MTech, where specialized areas people will be working. They will be getting trained. That is for the people who have 2-3 years of experience in L&D, they go and get trained. So there are a lot of programs are there. And yes, that's how we used to develop, and we also supply to the industry. That's all.
Okay, I think we are 5 minutes ahead of the more than what
I'll-
is time.
I'll
Yeah,
just take 1 minute, Mr. Rakesh. So as we are coming to the closure of our discussion today, I think I would like to speak on behalf of all of us and maybe reinforce that the future of construction is not just about adopting new technologies. It is about reimagining the entire ecosystem. That is how we build, how we design, and also ultimately how we manage our projects. This is what I've heard from this esteemed panel. And looking ahead, also one thing is that the continued integration of automation in construction is set to redefine the industry, making it more efficient, cost effective, inclusive, as well as sustainable. So I would like to thank the esteemed panel for sharing their views, and to all the participants for taking their time out for this dialogue. And over to you, Mr. Rao.
Yeah, so thank you all the panelists for your excellent thought-provoking deliberation. On behalf of ASAP Info Global Group, thanks for taking your time out and contributing to this very important discussion of today. We also like to thank all our participants for joining us for today's event. We look forward to your participation in the next virtual panel discussion of First Construction Council that will take place on May 16th, and the topic will be the road construction. So till then, thank you and bye and take care. So just before closing, I would like to tell everybody that this panel discussion will be live on the YouTube, and we will send you the notification once it's live. So thank you once again and have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.